What's going on, guys? So today we're looking at a neck knife that's in the works. This is a Kickstarter project. It is called the Buzzard by a brand new company called Hydra knives. I'll tell you the backstory here. There was a viewer who had an idea for a knife design and ran with it, made it happen. And now, well, it almost happened, I should say. It's more than half funded. It looks like it'll probably get full funding by the time the Kickstarter is over. That in itself is awesome. I think it's amazing. There's a ton of you guys that talk to me all the time. Hey, I got ideas for this and that and this. Put it out there. You know, there's a lot of avenues these days to try to get your thoughts and your creations actually, a product. It's actually quite amazing, especially with crowdfunding. But anyway, so this person is, I believe, from Spain, and they approached me maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago, something like that. And they had these kind of pre-production prototype versions of the knives made. There's two of them. There was this one, which I decided to use. There's also a powder-coated one that's black, which is super cool as well. I do like the black one, but I decided to use that one. This one may be part of a giveaway or something in the future. And he asked me if I just give feedback. Watch the channel, appreciates what I do. And I said, yeah, sure, of course. I'll check it out. And that's what I did. I used it on and off for about 2 months or so. Just launched the Kickstarter, I think yesterday, the day before, something like that. And I want to talk about it. I want to give you guys my feedback, as well as him, of course. I did talk a little bit back and forth along the way. I will say, number one, very professional. This arrived and had a ton of paperwork all about it. He explained himself very, very well, what his plans were and everything. It was just very professionally done from my, opinion. I did carry this as a neck knife. As you can see, this chain was not included. Okay, I added my own ball and chain. I did originally have it here, but I liked how it carried with these two eyelets. So I carried this as a neck knife. Although it's sold as a neck knife, it has plenty of options for belt carry, as well as, you can pretty much put on anything. This knife has a ton of add-ons, I call them. So let's move this knife out of the way for a second. You can see how this one came. I didn't touch this. This one has ferro rod on it, on the side, tech lock style. It's not quite a tech lock, we'll go over that. Even has a little bit holder and everything. So, this is the multi-tool neck knife. That's the idea behind this, is a ton of different stuff in one little package. So right off the bat, if you're one of these people that are super into your multi-tools and your gadgets and things along those lines, this might be more for you. For me, things like, a bit holder, all that stuff's cool, but I stripped this down. The very first thing was I stripped it down to what it is, a knife. And I wanted to see how it performed without anything extra. Because that's what it is. Those extra things are extra things. I just wanted to use it as a knife. The bit holder, the tools and the handle and everything like that, even though there's a little cutout here for, striking your ferro rod and stuff. All this stuff works. However, I've talked about this in the past as well. When you have different multi-tools, you have a bunch of different tools in one that's very compact, it's easy to take on the go. They never work as well as dedicated tools. They do work. They're not the most comfortable tools. I didn't use these at all. I did use the bit holder. Of course, this one did come with a little Phillips head. It worked fine. It functioned very nicely. It wasn't super comfortable to use because you're using a knife to turn it as opposed to a dedicated screwdriver with a handle. You know what I mean? But it's kind of cool. So I like multi-tools. I definitely enjoy those, but when I have the availability to that dedicated tool, I choose to use that because they always work better, if that makes sense. So it's functional, it's not always the most comfortable. In a pinch, of course, you'll definitely, be happy that you had it. So there's a lot of stuff in here. The actual cord for the neck knife carry, all right, nice blaze orange, like international orange, so very easily seen, but of course you guys know most times, not always, sometimes I do like my paracord necklaces, but I do like the ball and chain style, just easy, I like the way it carries and stuff. All right, but it did come with the cord, in case you're wondering. Like you saw on the other one, there's also a bit holder. This comes with a more narrow, I don't know the exact size here. I don't think it says it on the bit. Actually, it does, a PH1. All right, Phillips, so it's a little bit of a smaller Phillips head with the holder, which is pretty cool. This is the actual tool that I did use. I literally just put a sheetrock screw into a tree, and I was able to crank it all the way down, and then I took it all the way out. So it is functional. Okay, obviously it just fits right there. It is nice that they integrated it into the sheath as well, okay, because obviously using the tools with an exposed edge would be dangerous, so you don't want to have to put this in there and try to, use it like that. So that was smart thinking for sure. All right, but again, that's not something that I'm focused, you know, specifically on. I would prefer to use a screwdriver set when possible, but again, for all the gadget people out there, multi-tool folks, that's something that would probably be really cool. Originally, they had this set of spacers on the back portion here, okay, just like this. All right, and the idea was just for comfort. That's it. It's a comfortable thing. I first started using this. I used it for like probably, I want to say at least two weeks, maybe 3 weeks, like that. And then eventually, I took it off. I took it off just to try it, you know, without it. And you know, 6 to 1, half dozen the other. It actually is a little bit more comfortable. It's a very simple, just spacers and some Kydex material. All right, it's probably G10 in the middle there, and like I said, just Kydex rings. All right, so if you don't like or don't need the karambit style, you know, ring, which by the way, when using this knife, I'll probably get to this a little later, but I did try putting pinky in there. It's a little bit tight, a little bit short. I can do it, okay, so it's a much more secure grip, but I generally have my finger over, you know, right here, which is a little bit close to the edge, but just one of those things, just kind of experimented with it. All right, so that is also in there. Ferro rod, all kinds of fasteners, like again, so you can attach it to the sheath, you can attach it to the bottom of the sheath if you want it, you know, horizontal. I mean, a ton of options. It does come with a striker as well for that ferro rod, but I didn't use that striker. I used the back portion here, which is also, you know, meant for striking. Now, this doesn't have like a 90-degree edge like you'd think, but it works totally fine. When I first, you know, was looking at it, obviously there's a little fire symbol there in case you forget. That's what that's for. And usually it's like super sharp on the edge. But I'm like, you know, this thing's not going to work that great. And I went to strike it and it worked fine. So no problem there whatsoever. As far as the actual edge, it is softened, you know, so there's no sharp parts on the knife at all, except of course our actual cutting edge. So that's nice. It's not a Tek-Lock brand. Tack clip. I think this is the first time I've seen this. I might or might not have seen these before. Obviously the maker's from Spain. Okay, these are also made in Spain. So it's a no-brainer there. It's obviously why they went with that. Made in Spain here, Spain patent number on here. This is actually pretty interesting. Works just kind of like Tek-Lock, only there's a switch on top, which is like the locking switch. And then you push here, which you can see moves the clips over. And that's how you open this. Okay, and then of course you have all your different positions. These are angled on the corners. Just gives you a lot of different, you know, different range as far as carry. You can carry this thing anywhere. Although, you know, kind of sold as a neck knife, and that's how I used it. It doesn't have to be. It can very easily be a belt knife. You can put this on your pack, whatever you want. Okay, different adjustments here for thickness of the belt and so on. So pretty interesting mechanism here with how that works. All right, that is stiff. I had to do that off camera. All right, so it's not going to accidentally push in. So that's your lock mechanism. All right, so pretty interesting. Tack clip. All right, besides that, also I have a patch, which is very cool. Hydra, of course, you know, did all the branding for this new company, which is very cool. Of course, there's a website. I'll put a link in the description box to the Kickstarter page. And he also sent, this is one of those, you know, like neck warmer things. You can use it a bunch of different ways, pull it up over your face. I forget what these are called. These are actually awesome. I use these for fishing. But same deal. It's like a neck gaiter type deal. And somewhere on here, there it is, branded. All right, you can probably see them wearing these in their video. Pretty fun video as well for their Kickstarter. And some more attachment options here with the proper tools. All right, so a ton of add-ons. That's what I said. These are all add-ons. All right, options. Options are good. So you can carry this any which way possible. All right, so let's talk about the actual knife here. All right, but before I even get into the knife, I want to talk about the sheath. I actually really like the sheath. I believe it is genuine Kydex. It's molded great. It fits totally fine here. But there's actually a pattern cut into it. Okay, it's branded, the Hydra brand. All right, but there's like this checkering pattern. It actually feels really nice. It's just something different. I'm so used to smooth, like fingerprint style, I guess I would call it, you know, texturing on some of the Kydex. But I never really saw this like a pattern. There is a drainage hole on the top there in case you do get water or something in there. The rivets are very good. And of course, again, there's that hole in there that corresponds with the bit holder. All right, if you want to use this, you know, as a screwdriver, basically, screwdriver handle. All right, so let's focus on the knife itself. When I first got this, just used it around the house. I did EDC it a couple times since it is a neck knife. Carries totally fine. I originally had it in the top 2 holes here, and it was fine, but it kind of tilted on me a little bit just because how the weight was, so I ended up using these 2 holes, and it sat a little higher in the chest anyway, which I liked. But it carried totally fine. It worked totally fine. You can see it has that Warncliffe style blade. A lot of people like total straight edge, very easy to sharpen, has a nice acute point as well. Later on, I started using this a little bit harder outside. I took it outside one day. I did some fixed blade testing and stuff. Colder weather, like low 20s, 21, 22 degrees Fahrenheit. A lot of the wood outside was, pretty much frozen. So it was a little bit more abusive on the edges. And I didn't have any problems with it rolling or anything like that. It did lose its edge fairly quickly in comparison to a lot of the other knives I was testing. The blade steel choice is a 1.4116 stainless steel. This is also just known simply as 4116 stainless. If you're not familiar with the steel, essentially this is the European version of a 420 HC or high carbon. That's probably most known in Buck Knives. Buck Knives does an amazing job on heat treating their 420 HC, but other companies use it as well. It's adequate for more affordable knives. The price tag on this through the Kickstarter, I think, is like $68. I had to convert it, so hopefully that's correct. For $68, some people are gonna go, because this is what people do with knives, okay? Blade steel, price, either that's a happy combination, or they go, no way. I know some people are gonna go, oh, bummer, 420 HC for 70 bucks, no way. It's unfortunate that some people see it that way. I don't focus as much on the blade steel, although obviously that's where your performance is, your edge, holding capability, all that kind of stuff. I will say the downside is no, it won't hold an edge that long, but it is really easy to sharpen. And again, because of the blade profile and style, it's really easy to sharpen. I stropped this up very quickly, had no issues, never actually had to sharpen it. So coming in close, hopefully you guys can see this. There is some uneven grinds, all right? Towards the tip here, you can see it kind of fades off as opposed to the other side. And on the bottom, you can see how it's kind of narrow there, but on the other side, it kind of rides up a little bit wider. And I was talking to the creator, and of course he apologized. These are pre-production, you know what I mean? So it's not going to be indicative of the production versions, where I was told that, of course, it will have, more attention to detail and stuff. These were just, pre-prototypes, just to kind of get the designs out there and see how they're going to perform and stuff. There is jimping. You can see 2 different jimping patterns, a wider, smaller one here, which is actually very comfortable. This one's more aggressive. It's a little bit finer. There's more of it. Choking up on it, like I have, medium to large size hands. They're chunky. They're not super long or anything like that. But I found that the handle was a little bit short for my liking. It is comfortable enough. It's no problem. As I mentioned before, when I stick my pinky through the finger ring on the bottom, it feels a little bit, close if I do keep my pointer finger in that choil. Right, so naturally I've done this when using it and kind of had a stronger grip because my finger is close to that edge there. Didn't have any problems with it or anything, but I would say it would be a little bit more comfortable with smaller hands. So overall, I didn't have a lot of problems with the knife. I mean, my hands are just a little bit big to get the perfect grip on here, but it's totally adequate. I do like the blade style, the Warncliffe style blade is totally fine. It is a little bit softer for the price range, $68. I, of course, like to see it cheaper, but I like to see every knife cheaper. All right, this definitely would appeal to someone who's into multi-tools and stuff. I'm not going to take advantage personally of the bit, holder and the different tools that are integrated into here, or even the ferro rod so much. This being a smaller knife, I'm using it in the neck knife, realm of things, so I don't need the fire starting capability and stuff like that. I would definitely, personally go towards larger fixed blades that have that feature, have a sheath that holds a ferro rod. If I'm gonna be outside in the woods, chopping wood and stuff like that, this is not a go-to knife for that. I definitely saw this more as a neck knife, utility knife, that you're not gonna be walking around the woods necessarily, but you're gonna be walking, in public, urban areas, city areas. You're not gonna need to start fires and stuff. So there you go, guys. Pretty much wraps it up. The Hydra Buzzard, pretty cool. Love seeing options on the market. Before I go, I will talk again about the steel choice and the price, because I know that's what you guys are gonna focus on. I read the comments, I've been reading them for 10 years, okay? Most common comment, I wouldn't buy that because it's X dollars and has X steel, okay? People constantly make those comparisons. It's not everything, it's important to a lot of people. But I will tell you from personal experience, having put out my own first knife, and P.S. I do have other knife designs in the works, so stay tuned for that. Very excited about those. But yeah, having those options given to me, if you use this steel, it's going to be this price. If you use this steel, it's going to be this price. You would be amazed how different it could be. It just depends on the company, the availability, the source for steel. Obviously, being outside the US, it's going to be more limited. That's why the 4116 was chosen, because it was a more common steel available in Europe. Ask yourself this: would you buy this knife in a different steel at a much higher price point? If you say, hey, this should have whatever, 154 cm, S30V, or whatever you think is better, would you pay $100 for it if it had that steel? Would you pay $150 for it? Would you pay $200? Ask yourself that question, because some people sometimes don't have a full understanding of what production costs actually are. I mean, in some cases, it's not that much of a big deal to use a different steel. In other cases, it really is. Availability is everything. All right, so obviously, this steel was chosen for a reason. Wherever this person had this knife produced and made, they had options, they had price brackets, and it stayed within their expectations. So just something to consider before you critique it. So that's all. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow with another video. Take care.